Well, hey everyone, I am here at the Ohio Regional with Jordan, and Jordan is a watchmaker, and I'm going to have him tell you about his watch company and the beautiful watches that he makes here.
Yeah, so I'm with Cincinnati Watch Company. We've been around since 2018, designing and building watches in Cincinnati, Ohio. So everything that we make takes inspiration from our local community, from the art and architecture and history of Cincinnati. And with the sale of every watch, we give back to a local organization. So some of our most popular watches is the Union Terminal watch, which takes inspiration from our train station, the Cincinnati's Union Terminal, which has a gorgeous clock on the front of it, Art Deco style. It's been by far our most popular watch. And then we've got other watches that take inspiration from the Gruen Watch Company, which was based in Cincinnati, who did much the same thing we do today. They did their design, but they imported components and put them together in Cincinnati. Oh, and wow. So we're kind of carrying forward that heritage, and first company to do so since Gruen left, and I think it was 67, somewhere around there they left Cincinnati. But we're glad that watchmaking's back in Cincinnati now.
And do you have a website where people looking online can look at your...
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So our watches are available at www.cincinnatiwatch.com. You'll see everything we've got there. Also do repair work through there, not just our own brand, but other brands there. And occasionally we feature some vintage timepieces that we've restored as well there. But primarily you're going to find our product line at our website.
How long have you been doing this, Jordan?
So I've been doing watchmaking. I got a job in a jewelry store when I was in college back in 2001 and sort of gravitated towards the watch side of things. And then I went to watchmaking school in 2004 at the Lidditz Watch Technicum. And I've been doing full-time watches ever since. I started doing primarily repairs in jewelry stores. And then it's in the last few years that I ventured out with Cincinnati Watch Company and doing both designing and building in addition to the repair work.
You showed this Art Deco watch here. What are some other favorites of your customers?
The most recent watch we launched was our field watch. Kind of the thing you'd want, rugged outdoors, in the military. It's got the 24-hour indications as well as the 12-hour.
Okay.
It's got a textured dial. It has a Swiss-made automatic movement in it, so it's a Solita movement. This guy's $549.
Okay.
We have a pilot's-styled watch, aviation watch, that takes inspiration from airplanes at the Tri-State Warbrew Museum in Batavia. Those are some of our more popular right now. We've got a new watch that we're just launching right now called the Concourse, which takes inspiration from another clock at our train station that was inside the Concourse, which has since been demolished. Oh, no. But a really cool Art Deco clock that's available for pre-sale now. I don't have any to show off today, because next Thursday is a launch event, the first time people are going to get to see it in person.
Okay. Are there pictures?
But there are pictures on our website.
Okay. Do you mind if I post that?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for your time today and showing your watches. And is there anything else you'd want to say?
Just in the spirit of your channel and everything you do, is that we need more watchmakers, we need more clockmakers in the world, more people who are interested in this stuff. For me, it's totally interesting. I love every day that I go to work and I get to work on watches. It's a good day. And so I say, if you're into this stuff, go for it. There's plenty of work, and we definitely need more people doing it.
So hey, I'm still at the NAWCC Southern Ohio Regional, and I ran into a national board member. This is John.
Hello.
John has something special to show us today. So John, what do you have here to...
Well, it's interesting. We are a growing organization. We're evolving. Everybody thinks that we were probably just a group of old clock and pocket watch collectors, but we are getting massive quantities of new members who are younger people and older people like me who are interested in wristwatches. And I thought I'd love to take you around and introduce you to a couple of people and let them tell you the story of how the NAWCC benefits them, and you know, events like this benefit them in their collecting of wristwatches. So Seth, this is my friend Ryan. Ryan is the same age as my son, and it's really cool to see young people who are as obsessed with wristwatches as I am here. Ryan, tell us why you come to NAWCC events. What's the benefit?
Oh, well, a friend of mine, Ravi, I met actually doing a watch transaction, and he told me about NAWCC. I'd never heard of vintage watch shows, really. And from the first show, I was hooked. I got to handle these watches that I look at online constantly, and I had the obsession for years, but when I came here, I got to look at them, and, I met people that were knowledgeable, and, it really gave me the education and the confidence to really, get into the hobby. And since then, I started my own business with buying and selling watches. So it's really been a great resource for me.
So you've been doing this for a little while, and I know your loves in watches are diverse. Do you have a couple of watches that you could show, Ryan? I mean, I know you like Rolex.
So this is a DHS 16220. It's about from I think 89 or 90. It's a good watch. I bought it last year at one of these shows, and a watch I was going to sell, but I just decided to keep, and I wear it regularly.
And how about, not everything is a Rolex. I'm fascinated by these. It's the only battery-powered watches that I like, but want to tell a little bit about the Spaceview?
Yeah, so this is a 1971 Spaceview. They call it the Spaceview T. It's a larger case model, and just a great different watch. I don't know, something different not many people know about, but they're very cool pieces.
But while we're on the subject of electronic watches, I'm not as obsessed with these, but man, an American watch, these are like the progenitors of all electronic watches. You want to talk a little bit about this space age little electronic Hamilton?
Yeah, so this is a Ventura, a Hamilton Ventura.
Didn't Elvis wear one of those?
Yeah, Elvis Presley wore one of these, famous for wearing one of these. What year would this have been, like 52, 53?
Yeah, that one might be a little bit later than that, and it's got an amazing and innovative movement that got people interested in making an electronic watch. It was kind of a dead end, but amazing design from an American company in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, our home.
Yeah, very influential.
Yeah. And then we'll go to the Sublime later, but I love this watch. Talk to me about that a little bit.
So this is a Omega early 30T2 RG. It has a scientific dial, just a spectacular looking piece. This would have been late 40s probably, John?
I think so, yeah. Maybe
Beautiful
even earlier,
watch,
who knows?
Larger case than most of them. It's a really beautiful
The dial
piece.
is just phenomenal for a watch that old. I mean, stuff like this is what you turn up at an NAWCC show if you're really lucky.
Yep. Takes a lot of searching, definitely.
And then how about, this is one of my favorite watches. We're at our national event this year. We're sponsored by Breitling, and this is not a Breitling, but we're going to be obsessed with pilot's watches, and this is an early Longines pilot watch. What can you tell us?
It's from about, I think, 1944. It's a caliber 13 ZN chronograph. Really legendary movement from a legendary company.
Amazing shape. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you turn up at what everybody thinks is just an old clock show. The NAWCC is getting to be a lot about wristwatches.
Yeah, one of my favorite pieces out of all these, definitely.
Well, that's great. great to talk to you, Ryan. It's wonderful to see the young people who are internet obsessed and watch obsessed, knowing that it's great to actually hold a watch in your hand before you buy it.
No better way to learn, I think.
Now, I'm really proud to introduce you to not one of the youngest guys maybe, but younger than me, my old friend Jorge Barcenas, a passionate watch collector. I've known him for a long time. Jorge, same thing. Why the NAWCC? Everybody thinks of it as old wooden clocks. It's not, is it?
It is not. It is amazing the things that you can find here. If you look at my stuff that I have here that I've been able to gather as I come through the shows.
Not a wristwatch, but I love that, and it's by a wristwatch company. Talk about that.
Oh my goodness, this is a heuer, what is called a split-second time watch, stopwatch, whatever you want to call it. It is just incredible that I was able to find it and that it's running perfectly. As you can see, I was really shocked. You cannot find this on at Marshalls or any place that you go to. You can only find it here at these places. And if you look at this Omega is from the 1940s. It's amazing. This thing is like probably older than me. And if I wasn't here, I would never be able to find anything like this. I mean, it's running. You get to talk to people that you know, that you've seen. You build relationships. You build trust with people.
It's got this beautiful white band.
Look at that, isn't that?
For special occasions, huh?
And also one thing that as you go through the watch collection, if you look at this watch, someone who doesn't know about the watch, they're like, man, that's a really ugly color on the dial. But that is aged to what is called a patina color on the dial. It is a really nice, exceptional watch. That it is a 3-register, it's a chronograph, that it works perfectly, it is nice and well kept. I mean, this is the things that when you come up here and you meet your friends, you'll be able to find. I always get excited when I come here.
Yeah, I'm not completely excited when I see Jorge at a show because we compete for those tool watch chronographs, don't we, man?
Well, you always got me, man. But hey, we're friends.
We're friends.
We're friends. We play nicely in the lot sense, so.
Good to see you, Jorge.
The same, John. Thank you, buddy.
I'd like to introduce two more of my friends, Charles Valentine and Jack Kern. Charles was a friend of my dad's who was in this organization really early. That's how old Charles is. And Dad used to call him Charlie. Hey, Charlie, tell us a little bit about why you love the NAWCC and how you find watches.
I've been a member since '86 and just had a love for watch collecting. Learned a lot through the years from collecting watches. From the vintage standpoint, I've come to respect the quality of the watches that are collected.
Speaking of quality, Charles, why don't you show us this beautiful pink gold Gublin that you've got here? That is one heck of a watch right there as far as I'm concerned.
It's an 18-karat Gublin automatic with the original box.
Screwback too, isn't it?
Screwback case. It's in pink gold, 18 karat. And this is a very fine Swiss watch.
That's a dress watch and a half, man. Charles, you've had some of the greatest watches I've seen in my life over the years. And Charles is from my hometown of Indy, and he's a fierce competitor on the local watch scene, I can tell you that. And how about Jack Kern, another old friend of mine, obsessed with some of the same chronograph tool watches that I am. Jack, why don't you show that little Abercrombie and Fitch?
Well, okay.
Or show this.
Well, this is one that I just bought today, and I owned the same watch years ago. And believe it or not, one of the local dealers showed up from Wisconsin, and he brought it, so I got one back.
And it's on its original bracelet too, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah,
wow.
This is Zodiac, a caliber 11 with a micro rotor movement. Beautiful watch. I'm glad to have one back on my wrist.
Jack has been an obsessive collector of especially like chronograph and dive tool watches for as long as I can remember. I love that little Abercrombie and Fitch Heuer that you've got there.
Well, this was when Abercrombie and Fitch were a fine store instead of lately, and this watch was made by Jack Heuer, and it is fully signed. It's a chronograph, fully signed by Jack Heuer with a Valjo 72 movement. A very rare watch in super sensational condition. This was made approximately 1950 in that era, and it's highly collectible. It's just very hard watch to find in this condition that it's too.
Pretty amazing what you can come up with at an NAWCC show. Thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate it. Really do. Thanks, Charles.
You're welcome.
Cool starting out with pocket watches for a wristwatch story, but we have a real special friend of mine here. Fred, I think I met you when you were 8 years old and you could barely see over a mart table. Is that right?
Sounds about right. That was a good height for seeing things.
And it was great because we were both obsessed with pocket watches, and both of us probably got more obsessed with wristwatches as the time goes on. And you grew up and got as tall as me.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And
this is who I'm working for now, Jones Horan Auction.
It's a wristwatch, pocket watch, horological items, a great auction house that the NAWCC loves, and they have a great relationship with the NAWCC. Fred's been coming to these things for as long as, for pretty much as long as I have. See, people are excited here, I guess.
Yes, the enthusiasm's real here at the Mart Room.
But at Jones and Horan started out as a pocket watch auction, and you guys are getting more and more into high-end wristwatches.
Yes, we've had focus on watches since the 1980s, and in the last 15 years, wristwatches have become a huge portion of that equation for us.
Yeah, and you go for the very high end, the Patek Philippe's, the Rolex, the early Daytonas and things like that, and you have dedicated curators of the auctions, from wristwatches to pocket watches to ephemera.
To coins and associated items, jewelry, a lot of categories now.
Right. And tell me how the NAWCC and Jones and Horan are cooperative. I know you've been coming to shows forever. You find a lot of your goods, and you find a lot of sources for your auction consignments,
Absolutely.
right?
Just
including me.
Exactly. No, so many great people who have collected many years, and we are very active on both sides, both as helping people sell and as helping fill their collection. And people, we've been customers and clients with us for decades, and sometimes they're more on the buying end, and sometimes more on the selling end, and sometimes busy on both.
And you've brought your kids. They went somewhere to eat, but that's the next generation of watch collectors, right?
The little ones running around.
You guys are up in New Hampshire, and it's getting to be mud season up there, isn't it?
It is.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to you, Fred. Great to see you again, as always, at every one of these shows, and love to see your father and mom here, too.
Likewise. Thank you.